Well, we are 2 months away now from Netflix's live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender release, and we're starting to get more new still images of characters, along with new insight on what the show will be about and just how faithful it will be to the animated series. We also get some new information from Albert Kim, the new showrunner, on how he feels about the adaptation of Avatar, his thoughts on Brian and Michael leaving the series, as well as why he avoided watching the 2010 film. There's a bunch of news to cover in this video, so stay tuned till the end to find out all that's happening. Welcome to Creative Caution. I'm your host, Aladin. In today's video, we'll be going over the newest still images of Netflix's live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender, along with what showrunner Albert Kim had to say regarding Brian and Michael leaving the series, as well as his opinions on why he avoided watching the 2010 adaptation film of Avatar. Before we get into all this, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. It helps out the channel grow and lets others like you stay tuned with the latest shows and movies. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get notified right away when I drop my next video. Now lastly, I just want to announce that I'll be doing a $20 gift card giveaway once we hit 20,000 subscribers. All you gotta do to participate is be a subscriber, like the video, and leave a comment discussing anything that you liked about the video, and that's it. Once we hit our goal of 20,000 subscribers, I'll pick the winner in whatever most recent video I have out, so good luck to everyone. Without wasting any more time, let's get right into the video. Now Netflix has shared 4 new images of characters we haven't seen yet, along with 2 new images of Aang and Suki, as well as a new character, Suki's mother. We'll start with the 4 characters we have yet to see in the show. So the first image we'll start with is June the bounty hunter. June, played by Arden Cho, is described as a tough and persistent bounty hunter known for her ruthless efficiency. She first appeared in episode 15, Bato of the Water Tribe, in book 1 or season 1 of the animated series. June was a bounty hunter who would patrol the Fire Nation and the Earth Kingdom. She was the greatest and priciest bounty hunter of her time. She was a mercenary, loyal only to the person who offered her the most money for her services, not to any nation though. At the time, she was hired by Zuko to help him track down Aang. Now the first image of June looks very promising. She looks just like the animated version, but even better. Her outfit is on point, and I like all the little details they included in it, such as her armor design, her hairpin or her hair tie, if that's what it's called. I don't know, you guys tell me. She looks menacing, and I'm all for it. We also get a little sneak peek of her companion Nyla, the Shirshu that she's riding right now. If you don't know what a Shirshu is, it's a creature from the Earth Kingdom that can't see. However, it has an enhanced sense of smell to track down its prey. So Zuko would hire June to track down Aang with the help of her Shirshu. He knows he made the right call when hiring her. Now, I'm not that upset that we didn't get a first look at Nyla, but I do have faith that she's gonna turn out great, considering the CGI on Appa looks promising. Now, Albert Kim, the new showrunner for the live-action series, spoke to Entertainment Weekly about how some of the characters and events will be reworked in new ways, implying that we shouldn't expect June to walk in the same way that she did in the animated series to the live-action. He said, "We had to sometimes unravel storylines and remix them in a new way to make sense for a serialized drama, so I'm very curious to see what'll happen in terms of reaction to that. I'm glad that the live action is doing its own thing. Doing a copy and paste of the original series to a live action would be pointless in my opinion. However, adding twists and turns to it and adding new elements and backstories to the characters, I'm all for that. Plus, being faithful to the source material but just adding upon it is always a huge plus. So I don't see anything wrong with Kim exploring different avenues with the show's direction, as long as he stays true to the overall story of Avatar." Next up, we got Jet, played by Sebastian Amoruso. Jet was a rebel fighter who was fighting against the Fire Nation in whatever way he could. Now Jet looks cool here. I think they captured that cool vibe of Jet, but that hair is something else. I don't know if I rock with that style, but his overall appearance looks very solid here. Now Jet was introduced in episode 10 of season 1 titled Jet, but with 8 episodes for the first season of the live action, I'm expecting that we might see Jet for a few episodes this time around. But if not, it might just be one episode where it's all dedicated to him and his gang. Next up, we get our first look at the Mechanist, played by Danny Pudi. The Mechanist was first seen in episode 17, The Northern Air Temple. Some background on the Mechanist, if you don't recall, is that he was an inventor and engineer from the Earth Kingdom. After his village was hit by a flood, he was forced to flee and become a refugee. He eventually resettles at the deserted Northern Air Temple during the 100-Year War, which is where he and his son Theo would stay for the time being. Now the show is describing the Mechanist as an eccentric inventor and engineer who's doing his best to raise his son in a war-torn world. Now Danny Pudi as the Mechanist, I'm sold already. He embodies this character so far just from his appearance alone. Now I might be reaching a bit with this statement, but I do think that he was the right casting call for this role. Danny has a track record for outperforming his roles, so I'm stoked to see how he captures this role in the live action. Next up, we get our first look at Gran Gran, being played by Casey Camp Hornick. Gran Gran, or her real name, Kana, is Katara and Sokka's grandmother. We were first introduced to Gran Gran in the first episode of Book 1 titled The Boy in the Iceberg. It was the only time we saw Gran Gran, so I'm wondering if the live action will explore more into her character this time around. I would like it if the show could explore more into Gran Gran's life and showcase how she influenced Katara. But Casey as Gran Gran looks amazing. Her costume looks spot on, her hair loops are perfect, and the scenery overall looks just like we're at the Southern Water Tribe. Also, I'm pretty sure that's Katara in the background there, so most likely this is all still taking place in the first episode of the season. Overall, Gran Gran looks perfect, and I can't wait to see how Casey's performance is as Kana or Gran Gran, whatever you prefer. Next up, we get our first look at a new original character, Suki's mother, Mayor Yukari, being played by Tamlin Tomita. Now, Yukari was never mentioned or seen in the animated series, so this is a new change coming to the live action series. We know that Albert Kim will be expanding the world of Avatar, and that means introducing new characters and places that weren't seen in the animated show. Now, regarding who Yukari is, she's being described as the fiercely protective mayor of her small village on Kyoshi Island. Now, I don't know what to expect from Yukari, however, what I'm most curious about is how she will act when she meets Aang. Will it be a kind-hearted exchange of words, or will it be slightly hostile between the two? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. But we also get another shot of Suki here being played by Maria Shang. But Suki looks amazing in her Kyoshi warrior outfit. Out of all the outfits that we've seen thus far, I still think the warrior outfits have been nailed out of the park. Regarding this scene though, I feel like this might be when Suki and her mother are first introduced to Aang and his friends. They're either just examining the group and deciding whether they should be watched over or not. This will almost likely take place when the gang first arrives at Kyoshi Island. We get another shot of Aang, who's being played by Gordon Cormier, what looks like him meditating here. Now, regarding what that blurry creature is in the background, it can either be a Hei Bai, which is also known as the Black and White Spirit. He protects the Earth Kingdom forests, so this might be a scene where Aang encounters him. Lastly, we get another new shot of Aang, Katara, and Sokka, what looks like them either getting frightened by something or in shock at seeing someone. We also get our first look at Katara and Sokka's new outfit. They're not wearing their Southern Water Tribe fits anymore, so these new fits that we see here will most likely be the ones that they wear throughout the whole season, just like in the animated series. I do like the overall design on them, and they really do suit well on Katara and Sokka. Now, those are all the new images that Netflix has dropped so far. First impressions, they look great and promising. They capture the essence of their characters, and they look faithful to the source material from the animated series. However, what do you guys think of all these new still images? Now lastly, let's go over what Albert Kim had to say regarding the original creators Brian and Michael leaving the series and how he managed to push through with all the weight on his shoulders, as well as why he avoided watching M. Night Shyamalan's version of Avatar. Now, when Albert got the call from Netflix to be the showrunner for the live action series, he was excited and he even went to say hell yeah for getting the job. However, he knew that when he accepted the job, it was going to be a huge challenge that can either make him or break him. He said, "My first reaction after hell yeah was, holy shit, do I really want to do this?" Albert had an interview with Entertainment Weekly where he said that he became a fan of the show when he watched the animated series with his daughter. He initially watched the show because he thought he might have to explain to his daughter some of the themes and concepts to her, but it wasn't until he became completely immersed in the series himself. He would say, "The storytelling alone was just so epic and much beyond the audience it was targeted for," stating that the themes and concepts that the show was displaying at the time were beyond anything that he'd seen. Now, when Brian and Michael left the series after being involved for nearly 2 years, this left the fans, including me, wondering what the hell would happen now. Will the series move forward still? Will Netflix just cancel the series altogether? It wasn't until Michael made a public statement addressing the matter, where he'd mentioned that he couldn't control the creative direction of the series. However, he would state that Netflix live-action adaptation of Avatar has the potential to be good, but it isn't the show that he and Brian had set out to make. Now, with all this being said, Kim would go on to admit that it was absolutely daunting to continue the Netflix adaptation as the new showrunner without the original creators. He would go on by saying, "You'd have to be an idiot not to be intimidated a little bit. My first reaction after hell yeah was, holy shit, do I really want to do this? Is there a way to improve upon the original?" Whenever you tackle something that's already beloved by millions of fans, you have to ask yourself those questions. He will later describe how he wanted to make a show that was rooted in Asian culture, just like how fantasy TV shows such as Game of Thrones and The Witcher are rooted in Western European folklore. But Avatar, he points out, is rooted in Asian culture. He says, "That was incredibly rare, it still is. A live-action version meant setting a new benchmark for representation by featuring an all-Asian and indigenous cast. I think there needs to be more shows and films that showcase Asian Asian culture and folklore. Avatar could honestly be that benchmark that breaks that barrier that showcases Asian culture to the mainstream. Now, even though Brian and Michael aren't a part of the series anymore, Kim still got the chance to sit down with the two and ask them questions. He would say, "It ran the range of really nerdy little things that no one except for diehard fans might wonder about. Questions about Katara's mom or Aang's parentage, to bigger picture stuff about how to translate what made the original so special into a live action version." He would even go on by saying, "This is Avatar The Last Airbender, but it is our version of Avatar The Last Airbender." Now, Albert would continue by stating how the show will be different by adding new twists to it along with making it a more serialized drama. He said, "We don't start the show the way the animated series starts. That was a conscious decision to show people this is not the animated series. We had to sometimes unravel storylines and remix them in a new way to make sense for a serialized drama. So I'm very curious to see what'll happen in terms of reaction to that. As I stated earlier, I like this change. There's no reason for the live action to be a copy and paste of the animated series. It needs something new to it, either by expanding the characters and exploring more backstory to them or introducing characters that might have not been in the original series. Something that sets it apart from the animated series." We even got a small glimpse of this in the teaser trailer when the Fire Nation was attacking the air nomads. This was never shown in the animated series, so scenes like this will instantly set this series apart from the animated one, and that's a good change. There's no harm in that if you're adding new elements to the live action that weren't seen in the animated series. So I'm glad that we're getting these new changes for the show. Now finally, Albert would also address why he avoided watching M. Night Shyamalan's film The Last Airbender. He said, "I'll tell you something, I never watched the Shyamalan movie. There was a period of time where I thought I should watch it, but then I thought, I don't really want those images in my head as I start to go forward with our version of this project. So I avoided it purposefully." He would also point out that he didn't avoid any of the criticism from the film. He would continue by saying, "I knew what fans didn't like about it in general, but those kind of pitfalls weren't hard to avoid. For instance, an authentic version of the casting, that's something that we would have done regardless. And to be fair, Shyamalan's movie was made at a time when the technology hadn't caught up yet to what the world deserved. So I knew the VFX was going to be much better than whatever they did anyway." To be fair, Albert is right here. The casting for Shyamalan's film was just wrong in every way possible, but it could have been improved on if he followed the source material with the right casting and pronunciations. Now, regarding the visual effects, it could have been good at the time, but with how advanced visual effects is in today's time, it would have never managed to achieve the possibilities that we can get now. Lastly, Albert addressed whether he'll see Shyamalan's version of the film. He said, "I do remember when we were well into production, executive producer director Michael Goy had said, 'You should just watch the Shyamalan version for fun now.' I'm like, no, I've gone this far. I'm just gonna skip it. I don't want to." He kept trying to tease me into watching. I think I'm going to carry through with my track record of not having seen it. Now, that's everything I have for this video. I want to know what you guys thought about Albert's comments throughout the video, and whether you have faith in him now to deliver something special for us. I have faith that this show can be something to be remembered for years to come. From the casting, to the costumes, to the scenery, all of it just looks too good to be true. But that's why I'm so excited for it, because it does look like a faithful adaptation to the source material along with following the story of Aang and his friends. I just hope that this does become a success, just so we can get a season 2 to see Magnificent Toph. I'll be making way more Avatar content as the show nears its release, so any new news or trailers that come out, I'll have all that covered here, along with breaking down each episode and giving my take on how it did compared to the animated series. So definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of this. But before I go, don't forget about that $20 gift card giveaway that I'll be doing once we hit 20,000 subscribers. All you gotta do to participate is be a subscriber, like the video, and leave a comment discussing anything that you liked about the video. Once we hit 20,000 subscribers, I'll pick the winner in whatever most recent video I have out, so good luck to everyone. But finally, I just want to say thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't by now. Also, hit that notification bell so you can get notified right away when I drop my next video. Thank you all once more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.